So we saw the roadmap for the languages of schooling developed by the ECML team as an extremely useful tool. It adopts an action-oriented approach in looking at this area. So it supports the schools in identifying their strengths and areas for further development. So the roadmap can also be used as a self-evaluation tool and as a planning tool. It's also very interesting the way the roadmap adopts a whole school approach. So it has surveys addressed to all the different members of the school community, from students to teachers, school management and non-teaching staff. It is a web-based tool, so that makes it very flexible and easy to use. And it has 4 very simple steps to follow and a set of documents to help implement the roadmap. We also liked the way that the schools received their individual personalized report highlighting areas for further development. Another benefit of the ECML roadmap is the wide scope of promising practice that are included with it to help schools draw from the experiences of other schools and contexts across Europe.
We adapted the ECML roadmap to the Irish context for 4 main reasons. The first reason really was to ensure as many stakeholders and the school communities would identify and relate to the topics that were introduced. For example, the terminology of headmaster, head teacher, we don't use that. We use school principal, class tutor, year head. These are familiar to our school community. The second point is that we wanted to relate it to national priorities and national policy documents of the Irish Department of Education. We saw this as a priority. The focus now after lockdown and COVID is on student well-being, the student voice, how they feel about themselves as learners in our schools. The third reason why we adapted the roadmap was to reflect the languages spoken in our schools. For this, we looked to the census and we determined the languages that the documents needed to be translated into. We looked, for example, at Tagalog for the Filipino community. We looked at Yoruba for the Nigerian community. The fourth reason why we decided to adapt the roadmap was to broaden out the focus from languages of schooling to take advantage of the opportunity to survey stakeholders. We also focused on an intercultural dimension. What we hoped to achieve with this project was to generate data for schools to work on school self-evaluation. In Ireland, schools are obliged to produce a document every 3 years to target certain and develop actions to improve the school's performance. This project generates data, and this is really important data for schools to improve and change what they do. In particular, teachers in their classrooms need to be sensitised and more aware of the needs of the students in front of them. And some of the questions can be quite probing and make them think of how they can improve their practice.